Here's how to change the biome of a block in Gregtech New Horizons. This is mostly useful for IC2 crops or for forestry bees, but if you have other uses, it'll work for that as well. This method will change exactly one block unless you do some other steps to make it more, but that should be enough for most of the bee needs at least. Before you get started, it's worth noting you will need to do some research in the Thaumonomicon, and unfortunately, they do all give warp. As far as dealing with the warp, you have three options. One is ignore it and hope that you don't get anything too bad. Option 2 is to cheat and remove the warp as you get it, which is what I did. Or option 3 is to wait until you get to a later tier in the game, and then you have actually built-in methods for removing warp. That being said, the research you will need is Witchery Oven, you'll need Witchery Altar, Arthana, Candelabra, Chalice, Attuned Stone, and Distillery. The connections are shown here, so you know that you also need to get the ones in between, but those are the core ones that you'll actually be using. You can find the details for what I'm about to tell you at this quest here, the easy way to change biomes, which is under the Look to the Edges quest tab. There's two ways to unlock it. It is either by finishing the Bring in the Biome to You quest under Fishing, Farming, and Cooking, which is right here, or by finishing it over here at the How to Bee quest tab right here. The first quest we want to knock out is this Witchery Seeds quest. It requires one of each seed type in the Witchery mod. These are pretty easy to attain. You just use a hoe on random grass blocks. Seeds will pop out at random, and so you just repeat this until you have the ones that you need. Just from this little bit here, I collected 1 water artichoke seed and 2 mandrake seeds, so we're already a good bit of the way through it. Next, we want to jump a little bit away to this quest here, Fire Burn and ... We want to make this Witch's Oven in 20 clay jars. The Witch's Oven is pretty simple. I'm assuming you're at least an HV tier for this. This is the recipe. Make sure you've researched it in the Thaumonomicon or you will not be able to make it. Then, in between those two quests that we did there, we're going to do the Cauldron Bubble quest. In order to make this Witch's Cauldron, we need to first make anointing paste, which can be done like this. You basically just take 4 of those seeds that we collected, put it into a mixer, MV or higher voltage. Then you place a vanilla Minecraft cauldron down and then right click it with the anointing paste. It will convert into a witchery cauldron. You'll need to automate the water into this by whatever method you prefer. You could do a pipe, you could do Everfull, urn, whatever, it's up to you. It functions similarly to a Thaumcraft crucible in the sense that you will need to put a fire source underneath it, so just a piece of netherrack and a fire. Now we're going to be doing this quest, but before we can do that one, we need to jump back over here and do the Exhale of the Horned One quest. Pretty easy. You need 16 Exhale of the Horned One. You can get this by putting oak saplings into the Witch's Oven with clay jars at the bottom. You place your Witch's Oven, you open it up, the oak sapling in the top, clay jar in the bottom, and then any regular fuel source will work. That's going to run for a little while. Note that every one of these will not guarantee you the horned one. It's a random chance, so you might have to wait a little bit, but it will eventually pop out right here. You need to get 16 of those. Once you have that quest knocked out of the way, we're going to jump back over here to this one, mutate your saplings. Pretty simple. We need to make 48 mutandis, which is done by 8 eggs, 8 mandrake roots, and 8 Exhale of the Horned One. And you just throw them in. The order and amount does matter, so go to your cauldron and then one at a time. What the f? Why did this guy just spawn in the middle of the tutorial? So first up, mandrake root, then the Exhale of the Horned One, then the egg. Let it cook up for a second, shouldn't take very long. And it will spit out the mutandis and make 6 per craft. Now we need this mutandis for this next quest, which requires birch saplings. Essentially, mutandis just transforms organic things whenever you click with it. So we take the oak sapling and we want to mutate it, and it'll turn into a mostly random organic item. We're looking for birch right now. We'll have to use this again later on, but birch is the first one that we want. Reason being, as far as I know, birch saplings do not appear naturally in GTNH. I could be wrong on that, but this is a surefire way to get some pretty easily. And there we go. Took that many tries for me. Obviously, it'll vary for you. From there, you just want to bone meal the sapling over and over again. You want to collect a lot of saplings, and then an easy trick to get a guaranteed sapling is by making these branch cutters. It's a Gregtech tool. And then with these, you have a guaranteed chance to get a sapling every single time you cut a leaf. So that'll save you tons and tons of time. Trust me very much. Trust me very much. What the hell does that even mean? Then once you have your birch saplings, the goal is to make the Breath of the Goddess, which is much like making the horned one, except instead of burning oak, you want to burn birch. Make sure you have clay jars in the bottom there. That'll take a little bit. It is a random chance once again, but it should not take too long. Next up is this quest for Foul Fume. It's pretty simple as well. You just change out the sapling to be a jungle sapling instead of birch or oak. So the same process there. Make sure you use your branch cutters or whatever method you prefer to get a lot of those jungle saplings. And then with that, you should finally unlock this quest here called Offerings, which essentially is telling you to make an altar. You do need to do this. It's 6 of these altar blocks and 1 candelabra. The altar blocks are made from arcane stone bricks from Thaumcraft, Breath of the Goddess, and rowan wood. You know how to make the horned ones. The arcane stone blocks you should know how to do. If you're at this point in GTNH, you've had to do some Thaumcraft up to this point, ideally. But this is a recipe for that. It's a whole other thing, so good luck. As for the rowan wood, that's a different type of sapling. It's actually a witchery sapling. Most likely, whenever you're doing the birch or jungle sapling, you got 1 or 2 of these. This is what it looks like. It's the same old deal. You want to bone meal it up until it grows. Probably wise to use a branch cutter to get some copies of that sapling. However, where this tree differs is that whenever you cut it down, it will spawn a big tree guy, like from Lord of the Rings. He'll try to kill you. And it looks like this. There he is over there. He's not very kind. An int, that's the name of it. They have a ton of health. They don't hit all that hard, assuming you have decent enough armor. But you'll probably want to limit how many times you make these rowan wood saplings because of this. It just spawns so much grass all over the place. Oh my god. So after that, you should have your rowan wood and ideally everything else you need for this. So 6 of those altar blocks, and then for the candelabra, actually a couple steps required. So firstly, with this attuned stone, you need a diamond, lava bucket, and then whiff of magic. Whiff of magic, you make just the same as all the other ones, but you want to smelt a rowan sapling instead of oak, birch, or jungle. That'll give you whiff of magic. And then for the 3 white tallow candles, it's once again Thaumcraft, so this is what the recipe is, but you'll have to research that and whatnot. So with that quest done, you want to actually make your altar. It will look like this. It's a 2x3. It'll turn red on the top if you've done it correctly, and then you place your candelabra wherever you want. It might have to be in the middle, I'm not positive, but put it down. And then whenever you right-click it, it should look like this, maybe slightly different, but this is essentially the max altar power, and then the current altar power. It'll recharge as it gets used, but I'll explain that further in a moment. And the last machine we need in order to make this is the distillery, which is this quest over here. In order to unlock it, you'll have to do this one, but you don't have to unlock the quest. If you want to just make the potion, you don't care about the rest of the witchery line, you can just craft it without doing the rest of the steps. This is the recipe. It's an attuned stone. We just made one of those, a couple of empty clay jars, and then everything else here should be pretty self-explanatory. You will have to be HV for this, stainless steel right there, as you can see. And then additionally, the Viz requirements are pretty high, so you have to do more Thaumcraft to make sure you have the capacity for that. I was able to get the appropriate amount of Viz by making the iron-capped Greatwood Scepter, which you can see here, and then by making the Thaumaturge's leggings, robe, and goggles of revealing in order to get a nice little Viz discount. But again, that's Thaumcraft. I'm not covering that in this video. Once you have your distillery, make sure you place it down within range of the altar. Its range is about 16 blocks, so not too close, not too far. Essentially how the distillery works is you put things in here and it'll cook up similarly to the witch's oven, but the difference is instead of having fuel for it, it will be powered by the altar, which is this number here. This is called altar power. So we need to upgrade our altar and make sure it has enough to support what we're actually going to be making in here. The sweet spot we're looking for is 5,450 altar power. That's how much it needs in order to actually craft the brew that we're going to end up with here. There are a couple of ways to get this power maxed out to where we want to go. Ideally, you've done at least up to this quest, and that will give you the option to either take this reward or this reward. Or rather, the rewards from this quest, you can pick either a chalice or an arthana, which is this quest or this quest. I chose chalice, so I went and did this one. That will give me the redstone soup. And then in order to charge the chalice, don't worry about any of this, just do what I'm telling you. You craft the chalice with the redstone soup. It just makes it a better version. The Arthana, you can just craft at a magic workbench. It looks like this. This is the recipe. Now, the way altar power works is a little bit weird, but essentially blocks around the altar, depending on what type of block they are, will give more altar power to it. So you can do logs, pumpkins, flowers. There's a whole long list. You can find it online on the Witchery wiki. Now, essentially how altar power works is blocks around the altar in a 16-block range will increase the altar power of the altar. Different blocks will have different maximums that can contribute to one altar, and they each have different values for how much they will increase the altar power. Pumpkins and vanilla flowers are both good candidates. They give quite a lot of altar power, but you can only do a certain amount of them, so it's 20 for pumpkins, 30 for vanilla flowers. But as you place more and more, this number will go up higher. You want to make sure you put this inside of a building, ideally, so that you'll have a lot of blocks around it that can increase that altar power. It shouldn't be that hard to get to. It doesn't require anything fancy. It's just a lot of blocks, basically. But the very important part about the altar is the player head and the filled chalice. So you can use a player head ideally for this, but essentially what it's going to do, whenever you put it on top of the altar, it will add this little multiplier here. It'll take whatever number you have and then just multiply on top of it. So obviously very, very important. You want to put a player head there, and then you want to also put down the filled chalice. That will add more multiplication. And you can see now I'm at 6,210, which is obviously a lot more than our magic number we were shooting for of 5,450. That's pretty much all you have to do to worry about the altar. Optionally, you can also make an Arthana and put it down on top of it. This will not increase the altar power. It will, however, increase the altar range. It'll just double it, so it'll be 32 blocks instead of 16. So if your stuff is pretty far away, that might be a good option, but if it's not far away, then, you know, it's up to you. So if we go back to our checklist quest here, the easy way to change biomes, we need Tear of the Goddess, which we can see here is crafted in the distillery with Breath of the Goddess, which you should already have by now, lapis, and 3 clay jars. It's going to make these 3 things, as well as a slime ball. Now, assuming that your altar is set up correctly and your distillery is within range, you should be able to just dump all 3 of these things in, and the distillery will start functioning. You can see it has little particle effects, and the bar will move slowly to the right. And once that's done, you'll have a Tear of the Goddess, a Whiff of Magic, a Foul Fume, and a very useful slime ball. I'm kidding, the slime ball is pretty random. And finally, we need the diamond vapor, which is a little bit more complicated because we need oil of vitriol, which we have not yet made. It's pretty easy. You take the foul fume, which we do have, put it in the distillery with empty clay jar, and quicklime, which we have not discussed. The easiest way to get it, as far as I've been able to tell, is you take calcium dust, which you can get from mining. You put it into a chemical reactor with oxygen, and it'll give you 2 quicklime dust. Then you put the quicklime dust into the crafting table and convert it into the Witchery version of quicklime, and you have that. So foul fume, quicklime, and clay jar in the distillery to get your oil of vitriol. And then to actually make that into the diamond vapor, you put the oil of vitriol in with a diamond and 3 empty clay jars. It will make 2 diamond vapors as well as an odor of purity. Now the last thing we need to make in order to make this brew is the Book of Biomes Extended Edition. I found mine from a village, which might be the easiest option, but you can also craft it by putting 4 stone around the Book of Biomes, which in turn is crafted with this recipe here. Not the easiest thing in the world, some kind of strange blocks here, but it is doable. I would probably go with the village option if it were me. But essentially, once you have your Book of Biomes Extended Edition, you will see all of the different biome types here. You can click through the pages. It will show you the temperature, rainfall, snows, etc., etc. The temperature is a percentage, so if it says 2.0, that means it's 200% heat. It's going to be hot as balls in that biome. If you're looking for if you're looking for a nether biome, wasteland is a good category to go into. In particular, boneyard is a nether category of biome, so I use that one a lot. But you just pick whichever one you want. So if we make, say, swampland here, we go to that page, close the book. Then with the book on that page, you go into a crafting table with it, put a piece of paper on top of it, and this will give you the swampland biome page, or whatever biome you've chosen. And this is our final lineup of ingredients for the brew. Keep in mind, the order does matter, the amount does matter. So you need 1 mandrake root, 1 netherwort, 1 tear of the goddess, 1 diamond vapor, a diamond, your biome paper, gunpowder, and a bottle. Then just like earlier, you want to stand over the cauldron, and you drop in each item in order, one at a time, like this. And then, after you put the gunpowder in, if everything is good, you should be able to right-click with the empty bottle, and boom, you have your splash brew of shifting seasons. This last part's pretty simple. As you can see, we're at biome plains, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius, etc., etc. If we want to convert that, we stand on the block that we want to do. It'll only do 1 block with the way that we've made it here, and then you just right-click. And then, as you can see, swampland, and we've changed into the new biome. Also, we're in a slime chunk, so that's pretty cool. That's how you do it. Hopefully this was helpful. If you want to subscribe, feel free. Otherwise, that's cool too. All right, see you later.